Take a look at a standard family grocery run from 14 months ago. Beef, bread, eggs, milk, coffee. Total cost, $247. Today, grabbing those exact same items off the exact same shelves will cost you $312. To understand why that receipt is $65 heavier, we have to look 7,000 miles away. In February 2026, military conflict shut down the Strait of Hormuz, the most critical maritime oil choke point on Earth. Global energy markets panicked immediately. Gas stations across America updated their signs overnight, passing the massive price spike directly to drivers. But inside the grocery store, prices stayed flat. A dozen eggs cost the same on Wednesday as they did on Tuesday. How does a global energy shock cripple your commute instantly, but completely bypass the supermarket? The answer is, it doesn't. You cannot print a tomato. A plastics factory can adjust its output today based on current oil prices, but agriculture operates strictly on biological clocks. The produce you buy in a grocery store in June was planted in March. It grew in the dirt long before the first missiles flew in the Middle East. Because of that timing, every stalk of corn and head of lettuce was nourished with fertilizer purchased under the old, pre-war energy prices. It was grown and processed in a cheaper economy that no longer exists. The calm you see at the checkout counter right now is a ghost. The financial blast has already triggered, but it travels slowly. To trace that blast, you have to start with a chemical procedure called the Haber-Bosch process. It is a highly energy-intensive method of taking natural gas and transforming it into nitrogen fertilizer. Modern agriculture relies entirely on this process to grow food at scale. When the Strait of Hormuz closed, it effectively paralyzed exports from Qatar, a country housing one of the largest liquefied natural gas and fertilizer operations on the planet. This chart tracks the global cost of urea fertilizer. Right at the February closure date, the price shoots violently upward. It spikes 80%, hitting $850 a metric ton in just 60 days. Farmers planting their spring crops couldn't wait for diplomatic resolutions. To ensure a harvest, they had no choice but to pay that exorbitant rate, burying those expensive nutrients directly into American soil. The moment this expensive fertilizer hits the dirt, a permanently higher baseline price is mathematically baked into the future crop. Transitioning to the harvest reveals a heavy reliance on logistics. 70% of the U.S. food supply moves on 18-wheelers, traveling an average of 1,500 miles. This visual breaks down the math of fueling those trucks. Before the war, a driver paid $433 to fill a 150-gallon diesel tank. Today, that exact same fill-up costs $645, a $212 penalty per tank. That difference flows straight down the chain. The trucking firm bills the warehouse bills the distributor, and the distributor bills the grocery store. These rising prices are the result of unavoidable compounding arithmetic as the product changes hands across 1,500 miles. Then comes the final logistical hurdle, the cold chain of refrigerated warehouses and grocery store cooling systems. Every one of those cooling systems runs on electricity. A massive portion of that electricity is generated by burning the exact same natural gas that spiked in price months ago. The expensive spring fertilizer, the inflated summer diesel, and the pricey winter electricity all collide on a single barcode. A piece of produce acts like a sponge, soaking up energy premiums at every phase of its existence. Economists call what happens next the second wave. Former USDA experts project that when these spring-planted crops finally arrive, grocery bills will jump an additional 4 to 4.5% by the end of the year. If peace were declared in the Middle East tomorrow morning, it wouldn't stop the wave. Those expensive seeds are already growing, and those expensive trucks are already driving. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York is tracking a meaningful, measured increase in nationwide food insecurity. This is what that data looks like in reality: long lines at food banks in the middle of a wealthy nation. Families are forced into trading down to cheaper goods or skipping meals entirely because they cannot negotiate with the delayed math of the food system. Over the last 50 years, we engineered a global supply chain to be perfectly efficient. We traded away our resilience to save a few cents on the dollar. That $312 receipt is the final, brittle link in a 7,000-mile chain of transformed energy. When the modern food system is fundamentally built out of fossil fuels, a geopolitical shock on the other side of the planet mathematically guarantees a crisis on your dinner table.